Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Coming up here on today's show, we're going to talk about the top trending topics circulating around the silver and black. On top of that, all the news that you need to know from Thursday. I wouldn't be able to make today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com, 20% off and free shipping when you use promo code Raiders at checkout. If anybody out there just needs to up their grooming game a little bit, studies show when your balls smell good, good things are going to happen for you. So coming up here on today's Raiders Report, Josh Jacobs, is he staying or is he going? Davante Adams trade coming. I'll tell you the latest on this. And then Derek Carr trade destinations. That's going to be at the very end of today's show. I have done almost 2,000, maybe even more than 2,000 videos on this channel, and I've had a lot of crazy shit happen. We all have. I'm telling y'all right now, this is going to be the craziest offseason in Raiders Report, Raiders in general history. So all I tell you to do is this: buckle up, because it's going to be a wild offseason. Hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because we're going to be partying this offseason. We're going to be having a good time, and hopefully we got some positive things to look forward to. One thing that I'm not really happy about, Rochell, he was put on IR on Thursday, essentially ending his season. He's been dealing with a knee injury for quite some time now, and I really believe since the Raiders have essentially packed it in this season, they decided to put him on IR. Other moves that are officially official: Chandler, Denzel, Perryman, officially official on the IR. The Raiders, they signed Rochell. Also, Harvey Langi to the active roster. Trent Harris has gone to the practice squad. Albert Wilson has been released from the practice squad. And then they restored Vitaliy Gurman to the practice squad. Those are the latest around the silver and black. Now, here we go. Top 3 trending topics, and probably the biggest reason why y'all clicked on today's video is, first one is Josh Jacobs. Is he coming back in 2023? I still got to give this one only 2 just win babies and say that it's a coin flip. If you've watched the Jacobs interview from earlier in the week on Wednesday, he clearly says that he wants to remain a Raider. However, my point a lot of times with interviews is people just say what you want them to say. He's going to be a free agent in 2023. If you were to franchise tag the running back, it's going to be around $12.7 million. Has Jacobs had an incredible season this year? Obviously, if the Raiders were somewhat competent, I believe he'd be the front runner for Offensive Player of the Year, right next to somebody like Justin Jefferson, who, honestly, Justin Jefferson probably deserves to win MVP. But when you really think about why this is 2 just win babies, I really deep down believe that Jacobs does want to remain a Raider. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why you get a tattoo of a Raider shield, right? On top of that, though, he's going to want to get the most money. And you can't blame a guy at the running back position trying to get the most money possible. If the Raiders offer him the most money or the best deal, he's going to stay a Raider. If there's another team willing to offer him a long-term deal more than what the Raiders are going to give him, it's not because he doesn't like the Raiders or he's unhappy with the Derek Carr situation. He's going to go to that team because he realizes he's probably only going to get one payday. If it was up to me, if I was the one signing the checks, I wouldn't give Jacobs anything over $12.7 million. Franchise tag him at $12.7 million. Cool. I'd say if you want to make the most money in 1 year, it's franchise tag $12.7. And I'm not doing a deal anything longer than 3. If he's like, you know what, I am willing to take less money, but I want an extra year, okay, we can have that conversation. But it's not going to be, I think, what Jacobs believes he deserves. Has Josh had an incredible season this year? Yes, absolutely. If I'm Jacobs' agent, the numbers that I'm going to look at are Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon. That's the realm that I want to be in. I want to be around that $13 to $12 million. However, one really good year does not take away from the fact that Jacobs has battled a lot of injuries. On top of that, the running back position is easily replaceable. And I'm also a big-time believer that the only teams that should pay running backs this type of money are, guess what? Teams that are ready to compete right away or in that playoff window. Hell, I don't know if the Raiders are in that playoff window. So I'm going to ask you all this yet again, because this has been a huge story around this team just because of how well Jacobs has played. What the hell do the Raiders do? What would you do? Do you franchise tag them? Do you extend them? Or you're like, you let them walk? Let me know what y'all are thinking down in the comments. Here's my personal opinion on this whole matter with Jacobs and what I believe McDaniels, Ziegler, Mark Davis are going to do this offseason. If the Raiders are actually trying to compete in 2023, they're either going to franchise tag him or bring him back. If that's not possible, if you don't see Jacobs on the sideline, I really deep down believe that it's because that they are trying to tank. They're trying to get a high draft pick for one of the top quarterbacks, Drake May or Caleb Williams, in 2024. When I look at the roster overall for the Silver and Black, there's not really a single player on that team that I would say deserves a franchise tag. Now, you don't have to franchise tag a player, but to me, if you're going to move on from your quarterback and you're going to bring in a new QB, I would like to have this guy who I know, when healthy, is a top 5 running back in the National Football League. So, if the Raiders are actually trying to win football games next year, I'm a believer that 28 will be in the backfield. Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, Davante Adams. Is a trade coming? We know that he's not very happy. I have seen numerous videos out there that say that this man could be gone. My opinion coming up here in just a second. But remember, today's show presented by our good friends over at Manscaped. Let's just say your stocking, it didn't get stuffed during Christmas. Maybe there was nothing underneath the mistletoe. Your Hanukkah candle didn't get lit. Maybe you're trying to still blow out your Hanukkah candles. I don't know. That's all the analogies I can come up with right now. Here's the thing, y'all. If you want your holiday package to get unwrapped, use promo code Raiders. How do you do it? Manscaped.com. I absolutely love the performance package. Right here, what you see is ball deodorant and ball toner. If you put deodorant underneath your arms and if you use cologne, why do you do it? To smell good. I want everyone right now to take their hand. Men, I guess I should say. Wipe down there and smell it. If you're like, I don't know, then you need Manscaped. Correct. Some Famunda cheese. 20% off and free shipping on the best damn male grooming products out there. Manscaped's hooking y'all up. And I promise you this, you're going to love their products. I know how you do. I use them all the time. Hell, I feel like it's the only way that I can even get a girl like Alex. Let's face it, way out of my league. All right, let's now go to Davante Adams. And he posted this on Instagram. And if you can't quite see it, the text is a little bit small. Essentially, all he's doing is he's backing up Derek Carr. We know that they're great friends. We know that they're, some would say, even best friends. I don't know if they do karate in the garage or if they have bunk beds, but they're definitely close. And he's just sticking up for Carr, basically saying, like, hey, if you don't like the fact that I'm going to stick up for my friend, and you see the emoji there, you can go after yourself. So as soon as that happened, I saw Davante in the interview in the Fresno State jersey, or Fresno State shirt, clearly upset with everything going on around Derek and getting benched. So the rumors are this: Davante Adams trade, is it coming? I'm going to give this one just win, baby head, and say that is a very, very small chance of it happening. Is there a chance of it happening? Yeah, obviously. The chance of getting Davante Adams as a trade was a small probability, and that happened. However, this is it. Davante literally said, Carr is the reason I'm a Raider. I took an L for that. Tomato, tomato, tomato. But you know what? He's upset because that's his dude. That's one of his best friends. However, I was told by a very good source that, yes, Davante Adams is upset, but he doesn't want to leave the Raiders. On top of that, from an actual football standpoint, trading away Adams cost the Raiders $17 million. So unless Davante is literally like, I want the hell out of here, I don't see a trade happening. And again, from what I heard from my source was this: Davante was upset, but he was more upset about the way that the Raiders, specifically Mark Davis, handled this situation. Why? Because Derek, whether you like Derek or not, he has always stayed true to the Raiders. He's always stayed true to Mark Davis. He's done everything from the outside standpoint. Being a leader, yeah, I get it. He hasn't won a lot of football games, but he did a lot of great things for this organization. And not allowing him being around the team for the final 2 weeks, Davante didn't come to the Raiders to play with Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, Davante came to win some games, no doubt about it. But it's the way that the Raiders are handling this entire situation with Derek that's got Davante really pissed off. So what do y'all think here? Type F for show or D for doubt it. Will Davante Adams be on the Raiders in 2023? I wore my Adams jersey today for a reason. I would be just devastated if he wasn't repping silver and black. I still barely remember that show because it was one of the craziest shows in chat sports history. Hell, it was so crazy that even Davante Adams talked about it and during his press conference being introduced to this team. I'm going to type my F for show that Davante Adams is around. Also, a lot of people are probably typing their D for doubt it. Davante, though, he's kind of also been on social media, and this is the other part of my job, right? I am a creep in terms of my job is to literally just always try to find Raiders content. It's Davante Adams' Twitter. The last tweet that Davante has liked, and from the last time that I checked, it's still like that. And it's this. He got guaranteed money and is able to play close to home. I think this is still a win for him. That has happened after the Derek Carr benching. And Davante liked that. He still knows that he's playing for his team that he grew up watching. He's still playing for his favorite team. He's still playing on a team that his family can come watch him. Does it stink that your best friend is not going to be the quarterback there anymore? Obviously. He also knows, though, he got the bag. He's in a great development. He's got a lot of things going from a family side. With all that, I'm also going to go back and look at what he said back in March, where back in March he said family was the biggest reason why he came to the Raiders. I'm confident in saying that I do not believe that Davante Adams gets traded away from the Raiders. So, fingers crossed. Coming up next here, Derek Carr. Is the trade going to happen for number 4? We will break all of this down, but before I do, I tell y'all all the time, hit me up. Instagram, Twitter, hit me up on locals. I try to keep you guys up to date on all the latest news and rumors, but there are times when I think really cool shit happens down in the DMs. So full story here, I had dinner last night with Alex, and we go out, and we try to have a nice little date night, and I'm sitting at a bar. Alex is going to the bathroom, and I'm just kind of like twiddling my thumbs, and all of a sudden, I get a message on Instagram, and I'm like, all right, this is pretty freaking cool here. And I check the DM, I see exactly what the heck it is, and no shit, it's a Raider fan, and he's trying to get in contact with me. He's talking about his daughters. They're 7 and 11 years old, saying that they do impersonations of me, which I always find to be very, very hilarious. So, no shit, I see that he calls. I missed the call, so then I ended up calling him back. Huge shout out to Danny Roman. We sit down, we talk for a good 5-10 minutes. He was telling me how he introduced the show to his brother and how his kids love the show. And, I mean, it's probably one of the coolest interactions I have ever had with a fan. But also, on top of that, Danny said that his 7 and 11-year-old do an impersonation of the Raiders report. So I just figured, as crazy as this season has been, I figured I would show you all this, put a little bit of a smile on your face.
What's up, Raider Nation? Today we're going to be talking about Josh McDaniels. We need to fire him. He sucks. He had no buzz. Derek Carr, you got benched. Tom Brady's going to bring us the Super Bowl. Mitch, you're the man. The Raiders.
Raiders. Love it. So how did the girls do, y'all? A, B, C, D, or F? Get the red pens out. Yeah, you think that was you? I mean, maybe it was. Danny, I'll tell you what, you're raising your daughters right, and I want to get the daughters' names right. So, Jeremy, I know we got the graphic down below. How do they do A, B, C, D, or F? For me, I got to give Demi and Divyana an A+. We practiced that name. Sorry. If y'all watch the show, you'll know I'm not great with names. I can barely get mom and dad right at times. How do the girls do A, B, C, D, or F? If you don't put A+, man, you're a Grinch. You're going to have a shit year. Probably shouldn't have swore there. All right, next story coming up here on the Raiders Report. I mean, I guess if she's saying Josh McDaniels is that, it's all good. Danny, much love to you, my brother. Derek Carr trade, is it coming here this offseason? I'm going to give this one 3 just win babies, and I do believe that it's pretty likely. Is Derek going to be on a new team next season? Yes, that's 4 just win babies. In terms of whether it's going to be a trade or do the Raiders just outright cut him, that's where this discrepancy comes. There was a report that came out today from Jordan Schultz that said that he heard the Raiders are going to cut Derek Carr. I don't really believe that, if I'm being 100% honest with y'all. And the reason is because of money. And it's not because of the Raiders' money. It's because of Derek Carr's money. So he's not going to be with the team the next 2 weeks. But I've been told, and there have been multiple other sources out there that have confirmed this, that Derek would be willing to waive his no-trade clause. And I get it. Derek said that he would rather retire than go play somewhere else. I told y'all when that quote came out that that wasn't true. You're going to find out. DC is more than willing to play for another team. Why? Millions upon millions of dollars. If he is released, then he's not guaranteed the money that's on his current contract. If a team trades for him, then he makes $34 million. If DC gets released, there will not be an NFL team out there that gives him $34 million. Hate to break it to you, it's not going to happen. So if I'm Carr, I'm like, shit, if I get traded, there's an opportunity for me to have 3 years still on a deal. Maybe I can prove myself somewhere else. He bet on himself once. I think it'd be kind of foolish not to bet on himself again. In terms of what can the Raiders get for Derek, this is what I believe. And the whole DC situation here is tricky because I've talked to a few NFL sources that have told me there are some teams out there that still think DC can be a top 10 quarterback. And then there's other NFL execs out there that know that the Raiders aren't going to keep him anymore. So why would you try to give up a lot of draft capital, if you will? So I believe it's going to be somewhere between the Matt Ryan trade, which the Atlanta Falcons got a third-round pick for, or the Carson Wentz trade, which a lot of different figures here, where it was Wentz in a second-rounder for a second, a third, and a conditional third-round pick. I do not believe that you're going to get a first-round pick for Derek. If we do get a first-rounder, shocked. I mean, I would be absolutely blown away if that were to be the case. So if we're talking about destinations, there are several teams that I believe could use DC. If you were to ask me, all right, Mitch, which teams are the most likely to get Derek Carr? I'd probably say the Houston Texans, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New York Jets, or the Indianapolis Colts. Some of the other teams on the list are teams that I've talked about in the past, and I do believe coming up here later on in the week, I'm going to break down all the reasons why, and I'm probably going to rank the Derek Carr destinations. But for the sake of this video, if I was a betting man as it stands right now with the information that I know, these would be the top 8 teams that DC would play for in 2023. So here's my question. Is he going to retire, or will Derek Carr play next season? And if you think he is going to play, go ahead. Look into your crystal balls. Tell me where you think he's going to end up playing. I'm going to be checking all y'all's answers down in the comments.